Yes! Oh my god, I'm gooning. He who casts chud incel allegations shouldn't if he lives in a chud house. Aristotle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a second plane has hit the Slop Tuber Towers because right after the Leaping Lemur was exposed for being a 300-pound creep, now Turkey Tomstein is being accused of some pretty heinous and cringe stuff. Now, for those of you out there that aren't familiar with Turkey Tom, he has over 1 million subs on YouTube, and he became well known for his documentary-style videos on locales and popular internet figures. And it's kind of ironic because throughout the years, Tom has had his fair share of scandals and dramas himself. And in today's video, he's actually the main character of some allegations that have come forward. And I'm telling you, this is some sick shit. And before we get into these allegations, I say this every time I make a video like this, you got to keep in mind that everything here is just allegations. So I'm not saying that any of this is facts. We're just observing the evidence. And also, before we get into this video, I want to give a shout out to Kiwi Farms. I want to give the forum its props because without the forum, videos like this wouldn't be possible. So shout out to them. So everything begins with a post made by a user named Sacramento89 on Kiwi Farms. This is a young lady that is alleging that she was in a relationship with Turkey Tom. She provided a picture right here. Look at this motherfucker's face. But in her post, there is a lot of interesting stuff that she points out about Tom and his behavior. And I will give you the cliff notes because she wrote a goddamn novel here. She starts out by claiming that she had no idea what Kiwi Farms was until she looked in Tom's search browser history. And in his Safari and Google history, it was the first thing that popped up. And as you'll all soon realize, it's very apparent that Tom cares about what the internet thinks about him way too much. He's doom scrolling through Twitter. He's going on Kiwi Farms. He's going to Reddit. He's in Discord 24/7, not only to monitor what people think about him, but to also stay in an echo chamber orbit of yes men and people that boost his confidence and fuel his ego. She says Tom went crazy at a point, kicking holes in the walls of his house because some Belle Delphine lookalike e-girl threatened to leak his dick pics. We're going to get into that later. She claims that when she brought up Kiwi Farms to Tom, he got super defensive, but she was shocked to find out a bunch of things about him that she didn't know, like the fact he was a YouTuber or the fact he admitted that he was bisexual. And some of the worst allegations that she makes here is that apparently Tom likes to record his sexual interactions with these women without consent. So he'll be smashing these e-thoughts, he'll be smashing these girls that he meets on Tinder. By the way, this is the screenshot of her matching with Tom on Tinder, and in the midst of intercourse, he will pull out his phone and start recording these girls without consent. This is fucking diabolical. She goes on to claim that Tom has a file on his computer called Just In Case, where basically he harbors voice memos, text messages, screenshots, and those non-consented filmed sexual interactions to use as blackmail against any of the girls that he mingles with as some kind of trump card if they ever go to the internet and talk about him. And that's not a trump card, Turkey Thomas. That is actually called revenge porn, and it's fucking illegal.
That's fucking illegal.
Sacramento would also go on to make this allegation. I don't want to get into anything illegal, but during sex, he was very rough and would choke me and hit me in the face. Sacramento would leak a few messages between her and Tom. I'm going to read them now. He says, I don't know, I'll explain later. It has nothing to do with you. She says, oh shit, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is everything? So, of course, Thomas is stressing about something here. He says, the situation is very bad. Sacramento says, oh, I'm so sorry. Tom says, an ex of mine got hacked basically, and some stuff is probably going to be dropped online. Photos. They emailed my family. Sacramento says, bruh, it's okay. And Tom says, is it? And this moment right here, this text is just all the proof that you need that Turkey Tom is this guy that is obsessed with his online persona. He's obsessed with internet culture, just like the Leaping Lemur. We've seen that the Leaping Lemur would talk to the girl he was messing with and compare himself to Nova and Tofiachu. Well, here is Turkey Tom talking to his girlfriend, and he says, this shit, talking about the leak, does make me wanna and hero a little bit. And this girl is confused because she's not a fucking degenerate that spends all of her time on 4chan. She says, "What does that mean?" And Tom says, "Kill myself." So I thought this response from Tom in these text messages, "I'm gonna and hero," is a reflection that this guy is terminally online to the point that he doesn't even know how to speak to people normally. And it reflects in the relationships that he makes because he's obsessed with these e-girls, these e-thoughts, these Discord kittens. And you're going to see what I mean as we move forward. Because do you remember earlier when we talked about how Sacramento said that Tom was abusive during sex? Well, here is a picture from a girl named Clorox Katie, who here's some screenshots right here. She's talking about how she's gonna meet Turkey Thomas, and then she shows these pics right here where apparently Tom was punching her in the fucking face with some mean combos while they were having sex, apparently. In the thread, Sacramento says that she would post more screenshots and expose Tom's degenerateness, but she was scared that he would leak something about her from his just in case file. And Tom, you're a fucking degenerate. If this is true, if you really do have a just in case file on your PC full of revenge porn so you can blackmail these young ladies, you are a fucking idiot because that is a fucking crime. So I hope you do pull the trigger when all these ladies come out with these allegations so that way we can put your ass in a jail. But something tells me Tom won't do that because let's be real. Let's look at the way that he looks at his master, Destiny. He would never survive in a jail. Sacramento says that Tom said that it was weird for a girl he's dating to look him up on a gossip website, and he told her that she should never look him up online. So this is masterful gaslighting and manipulation from the manlet Turkey Tom here, telling his partner at the time that they shouldn't look him up and try to find information about him, on the internet. This is ridiculous. And it sounds like Tom is embarrassed of everything that's come to light about him. If you don't want this stuff to be public information, maybe don't do stupid shit. Maybe don't be a YouTuber if you're embarrassed of everything that's being cataloged about you. If you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't care if your partner looked you up online. And the rabbit hole continues to get deeper because do you remember the pictures I showed you of Clorox Katie earlier where she's got bruises from Turkey Tom's little manlet fist? Well, we also got some DMs between her and Tom, and dude, this is the most pathetic simp shit I've ever seen. So, just a disclaimer here, Tom is talking to Clorox Katie in these DMs, and I guess he flew this girl out, a very productive use of all that YouTube money he's making. But let's take a look at these texts. Let's see Tom's W Riz in action here. I'm so excited. 9 hours. Obviously talking about till Katie lands. She says, "I know. I'm so excited." Tom says, "I got kicked out of FurryCon." Katie says, "That was," and Tom says, "Security wanted to fight." Tom says, "Nice leggings." She says, "Thank you." My brain is like fucking melting within my skull right now. These two talk about them meeting up, and Katie says, "Trust me, my lips are sealed." Well, that was a lie. And Tom says, "It's less about like me getting shit. I just don't want you ending up on a Kiwi Farms page." Why does Turkey Tom reference this shit about the internet and personal conversations that he's having with these people if he's not doing anything suspect, if he's not doing anything wrong, anything that's going to get him or the other person exposed? Why is he worried about being posted on Kiwi Farms? What I get from most of these text interactions is that Tom is holeless. All he knows how to communicate with is e-sluts that he pays flights for. He doesn't know how to talk to real women. And he's just as cringe as the people that he makes videos about. And speaking of all the videos that he makes, it seems like Tom is pretty successful on YouTube. So why is he wasting all that YouTube money on flying out these girls and all this shit? It's ridiculous, Tom. We know that every real man spends his money on V-Bucks, pizza, and liquor. Okay, instead, you're out here buying e-thoughts plane tickets. You fucking sicken me, you little simp. So we've gotten some testimony from Sacramento 89. You just seen the pictures of Clorox Katie and the DMs, but now we enter creepy hoarder. You see, this creepy hoarder girl is actually a fucking creep. She's really living up to her name, but Tom's affiliation with her is the most suspect aspect of this entire thing. Of course, this bitch is a weirdo in her own time, but the fact that Tom decides to interact with a girl like this is very telling. You see, this creepy hoarder girl and Tom apparently talked for a little bit, and she has got a lot of shit coming with her. This girl is trying to be trans as a trend. I guess she's biologically a woman, but here's a video right here. She thinks that cutting her hair a little shorter and dyeing it a different color makes her a man. We also see that she follows an artist named Yummy Tasty Treat that draws lolly porn. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And there are a lot of people that say Creepy Hoarder herself is a lolly artist. Now, I can't find any of that information anywhere to say that that's true, but I don't need to know if Creepy Hoarder makes lolly herself because she follows this guy, Yummy Tasty Treat, who draws lolly. And if you're fucking following an individual that draws that stuff, you are probably as bad as that person. It's simple chemistry, really, Jesse. It's a simple equation. And another contentious point about Creepy Hoarder isn't just the fact that she follows somebody that makes lolly art, but it's the fact that she is seen as a pedobaiter. Okay, and what this means is her entire aesthetic, the way that she dresses, is an aesthetic to cater to men that like the idea of being with younger girls. I mean, Tom looks like he really found his match made in heaven with Creepy Hoarder here. No wonder he wanted to meet up with her and, simp out and buy her a plane ticket. Now, according to Sacramento 89, Tom told her that he did meet up with Creepy Hoarder, but he didn't do anything because she was weird. But I find that hard to believe. I think that Tom was lying to Sacramento just because he wanted to save face. It doesn't matter how weird Creepy Hoarder was. We all know that Tom's gooner thirst is unquenchable, even by the most diabolical e-sluts. Sacramento drops a little bit of lore about Tom's penis here, and she says he wasn't able to maintain an erection. And when you think about it, that actually makes sense. I mean, this guy is historically a sex pest. He rocks the Stop Gooning merch, and it's all joke to Tom because subconsciously his habit of gooning, of being this sex pest, is just funny to him. And Tom is so gooned out of his gourd that he's unable to get his dick up, and he's also unable to come during sex. Now, maybe Tom can't come or get his dick hard around women, not because he's so gooned out, but maybe it's because he doesn't even like women. Maybe he just loves destiny. But all jokes aside, this dude's brain is fucking fried from all the porn, all the gooning, and he needs to pop a blue chew or some shit. Sacramento makes a comment that adds more fuel to the speculation that Tom is into age play. Sacramento says, during one of our first dates, Tom looked at me and said that I looked like I was around 15 years old, and apparently he told Clorox Katie the same thing. So of course, I don't know if this is true. I wasn't there at the fucking Chili's with these two on their first date, sharing the triple dipper, but if Tom said that these young ladies look like they're 15 to him, why the fuck would he want to be with them? Yeah, FBI, you're looking for this guy. Now, Sacramento did claim that she was considering reaching out to law enforcement, and I say this every time that we get allegations like this. That is the smartest thing that you can do in these kind of situations. It's best for the victims to go out to the authorities immediately and not the internet. Like, I understand that going to the police can be intimidating, but you're telling a bunch of fucking random people on the internet about this situation. I'm sure that an interrogation room or speaking to the cops cannot be worse than that. So that's good to hear. We get a very important revelation from Clorox Katie where she's responding to a comment that says, at least so far, no smell problems were reported. And she says, no, Turkey Tom definitely smelled. Also, last time I saw him, he had fucking ringworm. And just looking at this guy, I bet you he smells like fucking spoiled milk. I mean, there's nobody that's walking around calling themselves a self-proclaimed gooner that isn't walking around in some cum-stained drawers. I refuse to believe it. This dude Probably smells like fucking horse shit. Also, I'm pretty sure that Katie Clorox here dropped some audio of her on the phone with Turkey Thomas. And in this audio, he says that he wants to commit some night rape. So whether this is a joke or not, compiling all the evidence we have together, this is not a good look at all.
I'm a fan of night rape. I like night rape. After a long day of work, I want night rape.
You know what, Tom? Me too, bro. Fuck it. I feel you on that one. Somebody in the thread says, tell us about a time that Tom cried, and Sacramento responds, he told me that the only time he cries was during The Sopranos or during some movies. Yeah, Tom, when Phil Leotardo came out of the closet, a white tear ran down my leg too. This dude has always been questionable, and he's always shown to have a lack of self-awareness. His entire online career has been based on clowning degenerates, making exposés about them, and exposing controversies, and he has been in so many dramas and scandals. And when the light is turned on him every time, he fails the inspection test. And now, look at where he's at. This horrible stuff is being brought to light about him. So again, Tom, you're supposed to be this pseudo-intellectual that's super self-aware, and they may be laughing at me, but I'm really the Sigma in on the joke. Make a video about yourself. Either you take some accountability or you deny all the claims, but you can't sit in the middle. You can't have your gooner pie and eat it too. We all know that you're obsessed with your internet image, and you've seen all of this, so we will be waiting. And trust me, when Turkey Tomstein drops that response video, we will be there. So until then, I want to hear what you guys make out of this entire situation in the comments below. This video was a little longer than usual. There was a lot of research that went into this. I do want to give a thank you to the ladies that came forward with their testimonies, with their experiences. I want to thank Kiwi Farms, and I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please turn on the bell notifications. Let me know what you make out of all of this in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.
If he didn't even have consent to record the video, then this is a whole different ballgame. Like, it's a whole different plan of action of like how I am going to process what's going on.
Right. But to your knowledge, you did have consent to record, just not to share it.
Just to me, like, recording somebody and then without their knowledge and leaking it is like a full-on, like it's a pretty like sexually invasive crime. Leaking somebody's nudes, I think, is also really bad. To be clear, I think it is really bad. But the issue is that I think it's fundamentally just more common.
What we do here is go back.